I've heard that thousands of times. What are you going to do with your house when you die? Immediately. I'm leaving my house with my kids. Will your kids move into the house?
Actually, you're just leaving them with the burden of selling your home at probably a worse value because they're checked out and they're mourning.
Why don't people realize this is completely safe? Everybody worries about losing their house. You got a greater chance of losing your house if you have a forward mortgage payment that you have to make every month. Yeah. That's what you call zero tax because it's borrowed money.
You could take money in one pocket, put it in your reverse mortgage, get a tax deduction, and then take a loan right back out.
Exactly correct. You start out with a line of credit for $147. Let's say you've saved well, you're continuing to work, you don't need any money. Well, look what happens when you're 86 and you have a stroke. There's $1,000 sitting there available to use.
Oh my goodness. Harlan.
Hey.
Welcome back to the show, man.
Great to see you, Caleb. It's been too long.
We're in person at Dr. Tom Wall's event. He's got an amazing showing. You're just on stage bringing the house down. Mm-hmm. You have new software. What I told you is I said YouTube loves when we can show them real numbers. Mm-hmm. I just had Dr. Wade Fowle on, and he talked about life insurance, annuities, and reverse mortgages. Mm-hmm. And believe me, he's not trying to sell any one of these things. He just, in his research, all three of these products, when set up properly, can really help people with efficiency. So we've heard a lot of people talk. In fact, our interview that we did on YouTube did quite well. Mm-hmm. This is going to be like part 2 with the real numbers. Mm-hmm. So before we get into the software, give me a higher level overview of reverse mortgage, the pitch, as you would say, and then let's get into the numbers. But like before we get into the numbers, like why should someone even consider a reverse mortgage, even if they're financially successful?
Yeah, so I have a reverse mortgage and I don't need it, but I'm using it for a more efficient retirement, a more efficient use of money. So all it is using part of your house without selling your house, without losing ownership of your house for different purposes. So instead of having all of your money tied up in your house, you do other things with it without having a mortgage payment screwing up your cash flow in retirement. Because anytime you have a mortgage, people say, well, I don't want a mortgage in retirement because there's a payment. But once you get to be 62, like me, you have the privilege of having an optional payment where you don't have to make a payment. So you're borrowing money and you don't have to pay it back until you're dead, which is kind of awesome when you think about it.
Which is kind of awesome. You need a t-shirt like kind of awesome. Yeah.
So what the issue is people worry about, I'm losing equity if I do a reverse mortgage. Yep. Well, if you don't do a reverse mortgage, you're losing cash in other places. In fact, this is equity. And it tends to be worthless. You can do nothing with it. I tried. I went into a gas station and tried to pay with this. And the guy was annoyed because I said, but I got $1 million house and it's all kinds of equity. And he said, I don't care. We take cash or credit card. Hurry up. There's people waiting. So this is wortheless. So all we do is take equity and turn it into cash.
Yes.
And the cash, then you can do something with, and you can go on vacation with it. You can help your kids with it. You can make sure you continue to keep your life insurance going. And somebody asked me, Caleb, should I get a reverse mortgage or should I buy an annuity? And I said, yeah.
Yeah, the answer is and, yes.
It's and, just like the and asset concept is, it's not one or the other. So I use my house, I use an annuity, I use cash value life insurance, and I have more of it because I didn't pay off my house. The more money you put in your house, the less money you have for other things. It's that simple. So if I put money in this investment, I can't put it in that investment. And many, many people make the mistake of having too much money in their house. Mm-hmm. And think about it. If you had $1 million, would you tell anybody to say you should put it all into one stock because I think Apple is really good? No, but everybody knows that. Even somebody that's not a financial advisor, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. So they ask people, oh, you've got $1 million house and it's paid off. So you've got $1 million in one real estate stock. Mm-hmm. And they think nothing of it. They think somehow that's different, but it's not. And so this is just a way of diversification that you can put money into other places instead of putting it all into your house and having no access to it.
And talk about how reverse mortgages work in a nutshell. It allows you to spend money and then not have to repay that back. That sometimes someone's BS radars could go out and be like, that sounds too good to be true. Yeah. Well, reverse mortgages have the blessing of the government behind it as well. Why don't you talk about that and how they work?
Yeah, the thing is that I always say it's not too good to be true. It's too good to be free. So the bottom line clearly is that anything costs money and everything in life is a trade-off. If I buy a car for $40,000, I've given up $40,000 in exchange for the privilege of driving around in a car for 5 years or however long that I keep it. So with a reverse mortgage, you give up equity in your house in the form of interest, in the form of closing costs, so they can use some of the money in your house without having to pay it back. At the end, when you pay it back, you only pay back the amount you've used plus the interest, which is usually less than what the value of the house is. So your heirs still get money at the end. They don't get as much, in the house, but they get more in other ways,
Yep.
either while you're alive or, more importantly, if you're going to want to leave a legacy or inheritance of
Right.
a certain amount, you can leave more through life insurance than you can through a house.
Yes.
It multiplies, and it's in a different format.
Cool. And really, it comes down to efficiency. I want to make sure I can be as efficient as possible while I'm alive and also as efficient as possible when I die. And
Yes.
life insurance, reverse mortgages, integrated well can really help with that. So, with all that said, you have new software. Talk to me about how this got developed. And I'm really excited to dive in. I'm sure you're going to show us a case study.
Yes, this was a client that we just worked with in North Carolina just literally a month ago. And it was a widow, lost her husband, and they only had about $300,000 when he died, and unfortunately, no life insurance. But they did have a $1.1 million house, and they had their mortgage paid down to $200,000, as you see on the screen. So the first thought, she said, is, should I stay in my house? Do I want to stay in the house? So we took a look at it and went to, here's what it looks like. We're going to give you up to $400,000, over $400,000 in a loan. The first is the red. That's the loan balance. We're going to pay off your existing loan balance,
Okay.
all the costs of the first year interest and everything else. So now you have a loan for $232,000 that you don't have to pay off. So we just eliminated $2,000 a month. Now remember, this is a widow that's only bringing in $2,500 a month.
Yes.
Her mortgage payment is $2,000.
Yes.
So she wants to eliminate the mortgage payment if she's going to stay in the house. In addition to that, the green is a line of credit. So we gave her $199,000 in a line of credit that she can use for whatever, because remember, she's only got $200,000, $300,000.
And just to be clear, that line of credit, if she used, would she have to repay that back?
Never, until she's dead, just like the amount that we originally gave her.
Got it. Wow.
So she's got to pay it back, but it's paid back with the future equity in the house.
I see.
And why is that? Most houses, as you see in the top left, go up by 4%. So if her house goes up by 4%, today she has $668,000 worth of reserved equity in the house. By the time she's 80, she'll still have more equity than what she has today, because the house will go up at a faster rate than what she loses.
Meaning that her heirs would get whatever's in the blue.
Right, because if she dies at 80 and the heirs sell it right here at 80 years old, the heirs will get $761,000 plus whatever she's got left in the line of credit. We'll get $812,000, which is a lot more than what we gave her, but she hasn't made payments for now 10 years.
Yes.
So it's the trade-off that the kids get less equity, but she didn't have to make a mortgage payment. The mortgage payment is $24,000. That's $250,000 over 10 years. Where's that money going to come from?
Right.
It's going to wipe out all of her investments.
Yes.
Because she's only got $300,000, so she's going to have to use the whole $300,000 just to pay her house.
And she didn't. And selling, what happens if she would have sold?
And if she would have sold and wanted to, and we'll talk about that in a second, because she is thinking strongly of moving to a 55 plus community, because she's kind of a little bit too far out in the country, wants to be closer to some of her friends who are in the 55 plus community. But let's just assume for a second she's going to stay here. And this is where a lot of people say, yeah, that's great if home values go up, but I think that the home values might crash. She's capped at whatever the value of the house is.
It's actually like it's an insurance policy regardless.
It is exactly an insurance policy. So the kids will never owe more than what it's worth. If at 87 she needs long-term care money, she's got $87,000 left over, even though her house has cratered in value. And the kids never have to pay the difference. She never has to pay the difference. I just had somebody call yesterday and said, my mom's amount of the loan is getting real close to what she's worth. We're going to have to make some hard decisions. I assume she's going to have to move within the next year. I said, no, she doesn't have to move until she's 150. And the daughter said, I'm so worried.
Wow.
She was literally worried all weekend that she looked at her mom's mortgage statement and she looked at the value of her house.
Yeah.
Mom was in her 90s. Dad was dead. And she thought, now mom's going to have to move because she's running out of equity. Well, she still gets a monthly check, and she's going to continue to get that monthly check, even though her house is worth less than what she owes.
Wow.
And that's where people get confused, is that, well, this goes well if everything goes up. What if house prices don't go up? If most of the time they do, but if they crash, you're still protected.
Yeah.
There's no downside. I was just in Las Vegas. If there would have been a casino out there that said you're guaranteed not to lose, you're not guaranteed to win, but you're guaranteed not to lose, I would have went to that casino, and I'm not a gambler, because you're guaranteed not to lose.
Right.
That is what happens with a house. We guarantee that you will never lose. You can use your equity. You can use all of your equity, but you're never going to lose.
Right.
You're never going to get kicked out, no matter how old you get.
You know, you mentioned something that I never even thought about. So when it comes to planning, and, you know, God forbid someone needs to do like the Medicaid spend down and stuff, the house is can be attacked. But if you're proactively doing this, they can't come after it if it's in
That's
a reverse
correct.
mortgage.
It's a non-countable asset. So in fact, right here, let's say that there's a $662,000 loan balance and she has $300,000 countable. She can pay that in without the 5-year look back. And all of that goes in to the $300,000. She makes a payment, and 100% of it now is a non-countable asset.
Wow.
So any kind of Medicaid planning, people say, well, is this going to solve the problem? There's no one magic bullet that solves Medicaid problems.
Yeah.
But you're a lot better off with having a reverse mortgage than not having a reverse mortgage if you run into long-term care like my mom and dad did.
Where's the negative stigma come with a reverse mortgage? You would think that everyone's just screwing people when it comes to this, and I'll be honest, when you do when you hear the TV ads and stuff, sometimes you're like, ugh,
Looks slimy.
It looks slimy. Where do people go wrong when it comes to reverse mortgages?
Two ways. The first way is right here. They're expensive. When we say it's too good to be true, it's too good to be free. $22,000 has to be paid to the FHA out of your equity. You don't write a check for it. But out of your equity, we take the first $22,000 because that is the insurance that guarantees everything that I just talked about. So you're paying an insurance fee. Some financial advisors call it a put fee. You're guaranteeing a future value of your house. So you have to give up 2% of the value of your house. There's a small origination fee, and then there's other closing costs, appraisal, title, everything else. So a lot of people say, well, that's expensive. I paid $32,000 for a $431,000 loan. No, you didn't pay that for the $430,000 loan, because look what happens over the time. It continues to go up and you get a lot bigger loan. If you live to be 90, you got a $1.6 million loan guaranteed, regardless of what happens to the value of the house or the general market.
Yeah.
So that's really the powerful thing. This lady is going to be protected, be able to stay in her house for the rest of her life, no matter what happens, if she wants to stay. But this is a different scenario. She said, I think I might want to move to the 55 plus community. And that's where we take a look at the purchase instead. If she sells her $1.1 million house, pays $77,000 in real estate fees. That's not our fees, but real estate fees, moving fees, whatever. If she sells for sale by owner, of course, it'd be a lot less. But she pays off the mortgage, $200,000. She has $823,000 left. So she wants to buy a $600,000 house in the 55 plus community. So what most people are going to do is, well, I'll just pay cash. And that is one of the foolish mistakes that people make in retirement. I just pay cash.
Yeah.
And they brag about it.
I want to put you and Dave Ramsey in a room, because that would just be, you guys have the most opposite opinions when it comes to peace of mind. Like, your heart will race if you had a paid off home. And his whole definition of success is having a paid off home. It just drives me, it's just funny to me.
Well, the good thing about Dave Ramsey is I published an article on NASDAQ.com about 3 or 4 years ago, just scathing against what he said about reverse mortgages. There was no lawsuit. I made sure everything was checked out. It was all facts. So it comes down to somebody said, well, that's your opinion. That's Dave's opinion. I said, no, it has nothing to do with opinion. It has to do with facts. And he's wrong.
Yeah,
and so there's some things that are opinions. But when it comes to having a paid off house, it is not the wisest thing to do in retirement. The math proves it. Dr. Wade Pfau has already done it. The worst time to do a reverse mortgage is at the end or not at all. So in this situation, look at how we're going to change this lady's life if she moves into a 55 plus community, which is now probably what she's going to do after she saw the software. She only has to give us $386,000 in a down payment. We'll come in with the other $213,000. She will never make a payment for the rest of her life, and she puts $436,000 with her advisor. She only has $300 with him right now. She will now have $700,000 with her advisor. He was on the phone and he said, I can do a whole lot more with $700 than I can with $300.
Yeah, no kidding.
So now she's got $700,000, plus she has no payment for the rest of her life, and she's living in a brand new house with lower costs, lower utility, no maintenance, and she can easily afford the extra HOA fees for the fun stuff. So it is completely changed. We talked to our kids about it, and the kids said, well, what happens at the end? Now mom loses the house in the 55 plus community. I said, well, no, it actually looks like this. If mom passes away at normal life expectancy, somewhere in her mid 80s, she will owe $718,000 on the house. But if the house goes up by the normal 4%, you guys will still have $400,000 left. And that's at 86 after making no payments for 16 years.
What happens if it only appreciates 3%? Just
And
curious.
so if it only goes up by 3%, then there's still at 85, it's $264,000 left over. You will not run out of equity until 93.
And then if it's 5%,
And if we have increased inflation at 5%, the kids will get at 87. The kids will get 700 or 604,000. Almost, actually more, $4,000 more than the house was worth in the beginning. And she's made no payments for 17 years.
And freed up.
And it gets better. One more thing, as I say, this is a situation. She's got now some IRA money and some gains that in that $300,000 that she's going to have to pay taxes on. All of the money in acquisition debt is completely deductible interest. She starts out at $235. By the time she's 80, she'll have $472. That's $200,000 worth of tax deductions that she can take between now and when she's 80, depending upon when it makes the most sense.
Explain to me how that works. Explain to me how that works. I'm really intrigued when it comes to that.
Yes. So let's just use the example. At 79 years old, let's say that she's, well, let's just put it down here at 75. She's starting to pull money out of her IRA. She's got required minimum distribution. So she goes down here and she says, okay, I don't have to make a payment, but I want to make a payment. So she does a single payment of $100,000 in year 5. And when she does that, as soon as that happens, the green jumps right back up again, because now she's in a situation, remove this over here. So now she's in a situation where that $100,000 that she just paid in is a deductible interest, because all interest is paid first. What happens at the end of the year, she gets a 1098, including mortgage interest and the mortgage insurance premium, all deductible in that year. You can see there's $100,000 worth of deductions in the 1098 that year. So she did not lose the $100,000.
And at any time she could take that money, if she could take a loan against that.
Exactly correct. So if she does that in December, and in January she says, hey, I want that money back out, she can simply go over here and do a single lump sum of $100,000.
And how is that taxed?
That's what you call zero tax, because it's borrowed money.
So Harlan, you're telling me you can, oh my goodness, you could take money in one pocket, put it in your reverse mortgage, get a tax deduction, and then take a loan right back out.
That is exactly correct.
No income.
Right, because it's borrowed money. You didn't sell the house. It's not capital gains or anything else.
And the beautiful thing about this is there's no risk, because this is built on, like, I can truly say there's no risk to a reverse mortgage because it's backed by...
It's backed by the FHA, Federal Housing Administration.
So even if you get
Movement Mortgage
equity
goes out of business, even if you're upside down at the end, no matter what happens, you can never be upside down. You can lose equity, which you are planning on losing equity, but you can lose money in your 401k when you take money out and spend it too. So I'm just spending money out of a different bucket. So I didn't lose anything. In fact, now I have more money in my other investment bucket.
Who is there anyone that a reverse mortgage doesn't work for that qualifies? Like, has anyone called you that won a reverse mortgage, and when you looked at their situation, you're like, you know what, the math is not, it's not favorable? Because it feels like this should be a must for anyone and everybody who qualify.
I've been doing this for 20 years, and there's less than 50 people it did not make sense for. Not everybody did it because they were afraid of it or whatever. There's very few people it doesn't make sense for. Some people need it more than others, want it more than others because of tax benefits. I mean, I saved $43,000 last year on my taxes, so I want it more than most people do because I have money that is coming in that's taxable in other areas.
Could it even work with earned income?
Absolutely.
And you can pay off. My brain is hurting right now because it's like, so you're paying that off, you're getting a deduction, and then you're just taking a loan against it.
Yes.
How is that not just funneling?
Well, because they can't change the rules. The rules is that acquisition debt is deductible. And now with the one big beautiful bill that just changed this year in 2026, now I can deduct mortgage insurance, and I couldn't deduct mortgage insurance before. So I could have only deducted part of that. Now I can deduct all of it because the mortgage insurance is also deductible. So that's where the way it works for forward mortgages. they've already hurt all of the forward people because they did the standard deduction.
Yeah.
Most people have lost their mortgage interest deduction. Why did I pay $100,000 in 1 year? Because I let it build up. So I'm way above the
It's
standard
all
deduction.
front-loaded interest.
Yes, and I'm only paying the interest because the interest is paid first. So why doesn't everybody do this? Because they don't understand it. It's a little bit
But even
complicated.
if you pay the interest, a dollar for dollar interest payment still gives you more ability to. It gives you, if you put $100,000 into paying off interest, it gives your line of credit an additional $100,000.
Yes, exactly. $1 for dollar. It doesn't matter if it's interest or principal, whatever you pay into a reverse mortgage, because you don't have to pay anything. We tell you that in the beginning. All payments are optional. 100% of whatever you put in gets refunded to you. Try that with a regular mortgage. People say, I'll just keep my regular mortgage. Well, if you're over 62, even if you are going to make payments, make it into a reverse. You at least get your money back.
Yeah, I've known you for many years. This is, I think, your third time being on the show, and that just clicked for me. Just what we talked about, interest. So if that just clicked for me, there's tons of people that don't understand this.
Well, yeah, think about it. You're a professional that has dealt with all kinds of complicated stuff and life insurance and everything else beyond what I understand, and it takes you a while to figure out. So a whole bunch of people don't do this because they don't get it. And it's too complicated. I'll just keep my regular mortgage. And people don't like to do hard things. And on average, it will take me 2 to 3 hours of talking to people before they move forward with the reverse mortgage because they got so many questions. If you're talking to them about a forward mortgage, well, okay, how much can you give me? What's the rate? What's the down payment? And you're done inside of 15 minutes. Go apply online. But a reverse mortgage is very different because you've got to unlearn 40 years of doing it the other way. And really, I mean, one of the things that people need to understand on this is if you don't do it, what's the alternative? Because people say, well, I'm going to lose equity if I do a reverse mortgage. Well, okay, then you're going to lose cash or you're not going to have fun.
Yeah.
Or you're not going to enjoy life.
What do you prefer, equity or actual real cash?
That's what it comes down to.
If you're a high-earning professional, entrepreneur, or someone who wants more control of your money, we offer something called a clarity call. It's a one-on-one conversation where we learn more about your situation and walk you through how integrating whole life insurance could help better your financial situation. It's no pressure or fluff, just real clarity on whether this strategy is right for you. Click the link in the description or tag comment below, and we'll walk you through exactly how we can help you.
Now, is this software for the public, or how do people run their own numbers with this?
It isn't. It has to be done by a licensed mortgage professional.
Okay.
But what we do is we simply run through these things, then we go up here and do the little add to the PDF, and then we send you the PDF of exactly
so
whatever we
if someone
talked
wants
about.
to learn more, can you give me a link for people to learn more about how they can talk to a
Absolutely.
licensed?
Just go to movement.com/reverse.
Okay.
Or
we'll have the links in the description.
or call 580-REVERSE if they don't want to do the internet thing, and we'll go through. And it's not about us selling you a reverse mortgage.
Yeah.
When you go through, when you ask me the question, how many people does this not work for? It's people that either don't have enough equity, or they're people that are going to waste money.
Yep.
And then we're very concerned. Then we're going to put it into a situation that's different.
I have advisors, financial professionals that watch this and listen to this. If you're listening to this and you're like, I need to learn more, go to the link, reach out to the team. And what you guys have done in the past is you'll take any of our clients' numbers. You can even keep them anonymous. You can keep their names anonymous, and you'll run numbers and see if it can help our clients. I know I've had people personally that I've known that I love dearly. I've connected them with you and your team, and you've helped them. And so I'm letting, like, whether you're a consumer and you want to see your own numbers, there's a link. But you might be an advisor that should also understand how this works, because you know other, like, life insurance, annuities, investing. There might be other products that will take this and even make it that much better.
Well, that's very true. It really, when it comes to an advisor, I always tell them, before you talk to a client, let's run through and see whether or not it makes sense. Prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Ask all the questions, play devil's advocate, and say, I don't think it'd work for this client, and run through, because how do you know it's not going to work? When 67% of the wealth in this country is tied up in people's houses, that is a significant thing that should not be overlooked. It's too much wealth.
Yeah.
And it's centered not on the top 10%. It's all of the mom and pop that bought a house. I just talked to a lady in Long Island, and she said her house is worth $1.8 million. And I said, when did you buy this, by the way? And she said, 40 years ago. We spent $49,000. That's a pretty good deal, huh?
That's pretty good.
I said, yeah, that worked out pretty well. But she doesn't have any money. She waited too long. She's in her 80s, and we can give her money now. But she said, I could have had so much more fun in my life if I would have known about this earlier.
Yeah.
It's that missing out that could be there.
Yes.
And that's why we want to get this message out to people earlier, because guess what most advisors say? When you're broke, when you run out of money, then we'll turn you over to the reverse mortgage.
They almost make it a last. Yeah.
It's a last resort.
Why is it financially better to wait start at 62 versus waiting?
Because as soon as we've run the numbers for the last 20 years, if you do it at 72 or 82, it's not a bad thing, but you're going to have less money in bucket 2 in your investment bucket. And so you want to, as soon as possible, start pulling money from the house, because mathematically that makes the most sense. You're going to end up with a higher net worth, more spendable cash,
more options,
and quite frankly, a higher tax deduction.
Yeah, the tax deduction thing is for advanced clients. That alone is a hack, is a plus that is really cool.
Well, to share personal,
you could get really creative with stuff like this.
To share personal information, I will be able to pull $1 million of taxable income. If I live to be 78, I will have $1 million worth of taxable income, completely tax-free, not deferred, tax-free. That's kind of important for me, leaving something for my kids and my grandkids.
Do you see the government changing the rules? Like, how does this benefit the government?
Well, it benefits the government in a couple of ways, because anybody that has reverse mortgages are not living off from welfare.
Yeah, so it's.
I mean, if more people use their house, and used in the money for insurance premiums and taking care of long-term care, like I'm not going to be a burden to the system because I have long-term care insurance with a rider on my life policy. So, the more people use this. The more people that use this, the far better it is for the government, because people are using their own money and taking care of themselves. And when people say, yeah, but I'd rather just have the government pay for it because that'll get my tax dollars back. Well, I'd like to ask them, have you ever visited a Medicaid nursing home? Is that where you want to spend the last 3 years of your life? I want to pay a little extra for a little nicer place. I at least want a private room.
Yeah. Harlan, is there any other case studies or any other number? Like, you talk to lots of people. Is there any other examples you want to use? This is great software, and again, it's not available to the public, but if you want to see your numbers, or if you're an advisor and want to connect with Harlan and his team, we'll make sure that you have links down below where you can be able to do that.
Well, I'd like to show one more, and that is this is a example of a 62-year-old. So a lot of people say, if my house is paid off, this doesn't apply to me. Without question, it applies to them, because this is what it looks like. If you have a $500,000 paid off house, which is the average house in the U.S. right now, and you want to do the refinance on that, well, look what happens if you set up a line of credit when you're 62.
But by the way, $500,000, like, that seems like such a small house value. But okay, $500,000.
It is. I mean, if you talk to somebody in California, that
we might have to do that next. We're like, but let's start at $500,000.
So $500,000, you start out with a line of credit for 147. Let's say you've saved well, you're continuing to work, you don't need any money. All kinds of people tell me, I don't need any money. My dad told me, we don't need any money, Harlan. We're small town Wisconsin farmers. We save money even on our Social Security. So fine, but he still got a reverse mortgage. He still listened to me, even though he complained about it and said, I'm never going to need that money. Well, look what happens when you're 86 and you have a stroke. There's $871,000 sitting there available to use. Or you can simply switch that over here and say, okay, at 87 years old, you can get $9,100 a month for the rest of your life. Or you only need it for 5 years, typical long-term care situation. At 86, you can get $18,000 a month for the next 5 years to take care of your long-term care.
If someone had a paid-off home and they didn't necessarily need the money, they can still do a reverse mortgage. They don't necessarily need to get any money, but talk to me about this line of credit. Like, or year one, the line of is available of 147, and technically they could take that and not have to repay it.
Correct.
But every year that they don't touch it, that green grows, and I'm assuming that line of credit grows.
Guaranteed. It's whatever the current rate of interest is, which is currently 6.25%.
They can have access to it and not have to pay it back.
That is correct.
And just so that you know, nothing's free. Upon this person's death, the whatever's outstanding will get subtracted from their loan value, and the kids of the estate will get the difference.
Exactly correct. So if they said, well, we never used it, and here we're 86 years old, and we die, we never used it, that was a ripoff, because now that cost of doing the loan back here, $19,000, has turned into inflationary dollars, 25 years. What is $100,000 left? But if that happens, your house went up to 1.3 million. Do you really care about the 100,000 when you had this guaranteed money
you got an
available?
option. Yeah.
And what's the chance of not using the money? My dad said he's never going to use the money. He had a stroke at 86, and all of a sudden he needed a lot of money for home care.
Yeah.
So that was a sad way to use it, but it's a good thing it was there because he didn't have to pull money out of his IRA at a high tax rate because he was pulling out close to $8,000 a month. If he would have pulled $8,000 a month out of his IRA, it would have had to pull out 10 or 12.
Well, and just again to play not even devil's advocate, even if you didn't need the money, wouldn't you rather use it to invest, and then this now becomes the tax strategy? Like, hear me out. So let's say I have a $500,000 home. Let's bump this thing up. Let's say I have a $3 million home. I'm paid off. It's paid off. $3 million bucks.
I'll put the 1.2 because this is the Heckam software, and that's limited at 1.2.
Okay, cool. So let's do 1.2, and so let's say I can do a reverse mortgage and I can take out $366,000. So let's just say I take a $300,000 line of credit.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have the ability in the software to invest or not?
Yes, but we're very careful about that because there's a lot of compliance things around of using lump sums to invest. Accredited investors can do whatever they want, but not everybody listening is an accredited investor.
So let's just say this is not financial advice. I'm going to invest $300K, and I'm going to earn I'm going to earn let's see, over the next 30 years, I'm going to earn 6%. Just going to earn 6%. So over 30 years, not financial advice, but I'm going to have 1.7 million bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And so if we calculate that, and then let's say I want to sell some of these assets, and I don't want to pay any tax on this.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say 20 years out, how much money can I repay in interest and get a deduction? I know I'm throwing a lot of new stuff at you. I'm just like, this is my curious brain.
I got to remove this. Okay. So at 80, assuming that it's still going to be deductible at the future, but how many years did you say?
Let's say 50, let's say 10 years from now. 10 years from now. So I'm 70.
10 years, you have the 72.
Yeah.
10 years from now, you have the potential deduction of $330,000.
Meaning, if I had
capital gains or
earned income,
yes,
I could take money from a taxable bucket, put it into the reverse mortgage, pay off that interest, take a loan,
back out against it and put it back to where it was or something else. Maybe you're flipping houses and doing real estate investments or whatever else you are good at in making money more than 6%. And really, it's only 4% because if it's tax deductible.
So not only, and again, this is not funny. I'm doing the talking. I'll get the letters if we get in trouble. Not only is there arbitrage, which it's pretty easy to do arbitrage if you're borrowing at 4%, just an FYI. Mm-hmm. But then there's a tax benefit. If you factor both of those things in, well, it becomes an amazing option to have in your back pocket.
Well, let's put it this way. I would never leave any money in my house. And I've been doing this for 20 years. And so I know what the deal is. And I've got mine out to the red all the time, except when I pay and pull it back out. Why would you leave money in the house? It's not stupid to pay off your house. It's just incredibly inefficient.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad I'm young. I'm 29, but man, I'm hoping this program's around when I'm 62. I really do. Does this work on multiple homes or just one home per person?
Unfortunately, right now only on one home. But by the time you turn 62, they'll probably have investment properties, Airbnbs, whatever, because it just makes sense.
Or it'll be banned. We'll be like a total socialist society, and there'll be no one will own homes because you'll rent and be happy.
Well, in the meantime, when you're young, just help enough of your friends' parents and help them get here. Because guess what? I'm a much better life insurance customer, a much better AUM customer. Because what did I do when I eliminated my $3,000 a month payment at 62? I sent it to my advisor.
Yeah.
So $36,000 a year.
Talk to me about why life insurance is like the perfect partner for reverse mortgages. Because the biggest pushback you probably get is, I want to keep my home.
Yes.
I don't want to
give it to my kids.
I don't want to dishair it. my kids for my home, all that, even though we don't want your home. Sorry, mom and dad. But show me the money, you know?
You just hit, there's two major objections to a reverse mortgage. They're expensive.
Yes.
You got to give up
I don't,
$20,000
I
worth of
hear
equity.
you expensive, but
In relation
it's
to
not
another
really,
loan.
it's not like it's coming out of my pocket.
Right.
It's
You're paying
coming
for
out
it with funny
but
money.
I hear you.
Yes, you're paying for it with
It
beads,
wouldn't make
kind of.
sense to do a reverse mortgage and then get out of it 2 years later. Is that fair?
That is correct.
Okay. So
Just like you wouldn't buy life insurance and get out in 2 years. You
later.
put in a CD or something.
So that's number one, expensive. And then the number two is I want my kids to have my home.
Yes. I've heard that thousands of times. And I almost chuckle when I do it. I got to be careful because I want to laugh at the people. They've never thought it to the next level. Down here in Florida, I went to a Publix parking lot and the grocery store, and I asked everybody that came out, hey, I got a quick survey. Will you help me with a survey? Number one, what are you going to do with your house when you die? Immediately. I'm going to give my house to my kids. I mean, they didn't even think about it. What color is the sky? Blue. And then I said, okay, second question, will your kids move into the house? And they looked at each other and, well, do you think Billy will move in here? Maybe Susie will move down. Well, our grandson kind of likes it. And they were still talking about it when they're putting their groceries in the hatchback.
No, actually, you're just leaving them with the burden of selling your home at probably a worse value because they're checked out and they're mourning.
Exactly. I mean, it's a really bad time. Would you go and buy your kids a present at the store during Christmas that you know they're going to take back to the store? No, you're going to give them a gift card. Guess what the ultimate gift card is in inheritance? Life insurance.
Yeah.
My kids are going to get, my house is only worth 1.6 right now. When I die, my kids are going to get a $3 million life insurance policy. And that's guaranteed. The value of my house is not. What if I die in a bad year? I mean, right now, for all of you out there that are in your 60s, 70s, and 80s, this is a great year to die if you want to give your kids a lot of money. Stocks are high, house values are high. So you should die right now so your kids get a bigger inheritance.
Not financial advice, okay? Don't.
So the issue is, of course, that's silly.
Yeah.
But the issue is, how do I time my death so my kids get what I want to give them? The only way I can time that is with life insurance. I know what that death benefit is if the market is down, if the house value crashed, no matter what happened, my kids are still going to get $3 million. But what if I want to give them the house and the house now is only worth 1.5? And if there's massive inflation, they're going to get the difference anyhow. They're going to get all of the blue if the house went way up in value. So they're going to win either way. Yeah. They're just going to win bigger if houses go up also. But at least I know I've got that taken care of. And when people realize it makes more sense to send money to life insurance than it does to paying off their house, there will be a dramatic shift in inheritances in this country.
Yeah, huge. And we've always talked, and maybe this is us publicly saying this, like Harlan and I want to figure out a way to do more collaborations because insurance and reverse mortgages need to be coupled, and because it's if you cared about a legacy, if your whole deal is not to pay off your home because you care about legacy, I almost want to guarantee if you're healthy or you can qualify for insurance that doing a reverse mortgage, taking the difference, putting it into a life insurance contract is going to give you a better outcome when it comes to legacy. And I don't think it's anywhere close, but let's run the numbers and challenge us. If maybe we do a part 2 to this whole thing and we get a couple people takers.
I've looked at, unless you're in Table Z, I've looked at a lot of life insurance ledgers, and you're better off putting the money into life insurance.
Yeah. From a legacy standpoint.
From the legacy standpoint. Yeah. But it goes bigger than that. Let's not just talk about, a lot of people say, my kids are doing great. All 4 of my sons are making way more money than I did in their 30s when I was in my 30s. And so they're doing great. They don't need my money. And so what we do is we're starting to spend money now on taking them on vacation, helping them with their kids, helping them with diapers, all the things. Did you find out that diapers are kind of expensive? And you got to buy them.
Not to brag. Our baby was potty trained pretty early before a year. So we saved a lot are money on
financially
diapers.
Motivated.
And that's it's just my wife's amazing. So that's my bragging moment. But diapers are not cheap.
Right. And so the thing is, I want to help my kids now. I mean, when I'm 90 and they're 60 and I die at 90 and they're 60 years old, it's not going to mean as much. Yeah. It means a lot more to do something with your kids now.
The die with zero concept. It would be really interesting to see if you could get Bill Perkins, the author of Die with Zero's, attention and talk about reverse mortgages, because I believe he talks about annuities. I don't think he talks about reverse mortgages.
He doesn't. And
he should.
I know, because that's part of the equation, and you can't guarantee that you'll burn up all the equity in your house. But if you did, you won. because
Yeah.
you used it all. I was talking to a guy in Green Bay, Wisconsin, the home of the most wonderful football
Yeah.
team that ever
Yes, sir.
existed, just in case anybody wonders. But anyhow, this realtor was in Green Bay, and he said, he came up to me before one of my presentations, and he said, Harlan, I got to talk to you. I think we're defrauding the government. And I said, well, I'm not sure I want to talk to you. I don't want to really know about it. I said, how are you defrauding the government? And he said, my mom is 94 and she is getting checks for $1,500 a month on her house. And I know she's already upside down in her house. And I tell mom, don't cash those checks. Just tell them not, just send them back because you're going to get in trouble. And I said, that is awesome. So your mom owes more on the house than it's worth, and she's still getting a $1,500 check. And he said, yeah, isn't there something wrong with that? And I said, no, that is wonderful. She won the game. She outlived the numbers and the actuarials, and so she's still getting a check. She died at 97, $100,000 upside down in her house, and he sold her house and got paid the commission on the house, and all the rest was forgiven. And didn't take long for him to decide to do a reverse mortgage because now he's in his 60s.
Wow.
And it's just like, why don't people realize this is completely safe? Everybody worries about losing their house.
Yeah.
You got a greater chance of losing your house if you have a forward mortgage payment that you have to make every month.
Cool. Harlan, thank you. Obviously, if you're interested in your own numbers or if you're interested in running other people's numbers, we'll have links down below. And thank you for the software. This is great. And we'll have to have you back on to talk about your article about Dave Ramsey. So make sure to pull that up. That's going to be a fun one to go through with you. But as always, man, you're a fun person to talk to. And thank you for talking about something that's taboo in the reverse mortgage space. And you make it attractive, you make it easier to understand, and I'm very grateful for that.
Well, thanks for the opportunity because you've got a platform that we just need to educate more people. Because I'm a farm kid from Wisconsin and never went to college. If I can figure this out, a whole bunch of people can figure it out.